Hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about the different modes of inheritance, or the different ways that genetic information can get passed down from parents to children. So the starting point that most teachers start with is called simple Mendelian genetics. In this situation, there's two alleles. One is called dominant and one is called recessive. And as long as there's one copy of the dominant allele, then the organism will show the dominant phenotype. So for example here, because there is, in this case, two dominant alleles, the plant is tall, and here we have just one dominant allele, so the plant is also tall, according to this rule, and here there is two recessive alleles, so the plant has the phenotype of short. Another form of inheritance is called incomplete dominance. Here too there are two alleles, but in this situation the dominant allele does not completely cover up the recessive allele. Instead we have kind of a blending effect, so that the heterozygous form is a blending of the other two colors. This is the case in snapdragon flowers. The dominant allele is red, the recessive allele is white, but a heterozygote will actually have a pink phenotype. Another form of inheritance is called codominance. This is when there's still two alleles, but in the heterozygous form, both alleles are expressed at the same time. Co is a good memory tool to remember this. If you think about co-captains on a sports team, they're both captains, they both have the responsibilities. So a co-dominant, they both are dominant, so that when you have both alleles, you're going to see both red hairs and white hairs for this type of horse. Okay, we're going to do some made-up examples now to practice this. So let's pretend there's a situation where butterfly wing color. We have capital B for coding for blue and small b coding for yellow. If this was simple Mendelian genetics, we know that this genotype would result in blue wings. This would also be blue wings, and this would be yellow wings. Well, what if it was incomplete dominant? Well, if it was incomplete dominant, then we would see a blending. So the heterozygote is the one that's going to be different, and a blending of blue and yellow means that it would be green wings if this was an incomplete dominant situation. What if we changed it to codominant? What would the heterozygote be? Well, it would be blue and yellow. Both would be expressed if it was codominant. So it would be blue wings, blue and yellow. Okay, let's look at this example. If we were talking about Mendelian genetics, purple, purple, white. If we talk about incomplete dominance, then we would have a light purple, a blending for incomplete dominance. And if the problem told you it was codominance, then the heterozygote would be both purple and white. So what if we try to apply this to something other than color? So if this was simple Mendelian genetics, this person has lots of freckles, this person has lots of freckles, this person has no freckles. If it was incomplete dominance, then the heterozygous form would have a blending. so a medium amount of freckles. If it was codominant, what would that look like? Sometimes students will tell me maybe splotches of freckles. So they have some areas of their body where there's lots of freckles and some areas of the body where there's no freckles. These are just made up examples. All right, so let's look at some Punnett squares examples. So let's say we have a bunny, and capital B is going to be for brown, and small b is going to be a white bunny. So when we set up our Punnett square, I usually put the dad's alleles on the top. So let's say dad was homozygous dominant and mom was heterozygous. So here's dad's alleles, here's mom's alleles. Essentially what we're saying is like, okay, here's the sperm cell and here are the egg cells. So if this sperm met that egg, what would the combination be? If that sperm met that egg, what would the combination be? If that sperm met that egg, if that sperm met that egg. We always put the capital letter first, by the way, whether the capital letter is coming from the mom or the dad. It's just convention to always write it first. Okay, let's look at the same problem, but now we're going to say that the problem shows incomplete dominance. So if the father bunny was brown and mother is a heterozygote, that must mean that she is a light brown, like a tan type color. Okay, so let's look at dad's sperm could either contain a capital B or a capital B. Those are the only options. Mom's eggs could either contain a capital B or a small case b. When we put that in a Punnett square, we see that there is a 100% chance that those babies are going to inherit a capital B, but what their phenotype will be is determined by this. So 2 of them are homozygous dominant, so they would have brown fur, and 50% would be heterozygous, so they would have a mixing of the traits, so a tannish type fur. So how would we interpret this Punnett square if we said it was codominant? Well, we have 50% would be brown furred rabbits, while 50% that are the heterozygous, 50% probability that the children would be brown and white, because co means both traits are displayed.